Welcome to week 2, lesson 3 of Energy School. Last week we talked about awareness and foundations. This week we're going to talk about alignment and adjustment, because awareness without correction would lead to frustration, and correction without awareness would lead to control. But alignment is between the two. So we're going to dig into that today. Now, I want you to consider one thing. If your car starts to just randomly start pulling to the left, when you drive, just slightly to the left, most of the time, someone around you might suggest that your car needs an alignment, right? They never suggest that you just throw the whole car away. They say, okay, well, when my car was doing that, then I took it to the shop, they checked it out, they ran a diagnostic test, right? Awareness, they pulled in some information, and now they're coming up with maybe we're out of alignment, and so it's time to adjust and align. Now, no, we're not gonna talk about cars. I just want to give you guys that. With awareness, it also helps you notice when something's off. We're going to talk about alignment for just a minute. I'm going to split this into 4 sections. Now, the first thing that I want to say is that alignment equals order. There are 4 different aspects of us that need to come together in order, see what I did there? In order for us to have alignment. And remember, alignment equals order. So the first thing, spirit. Here, mind. Yeah, they're different. Here is the body, different again. And then here are the actions. Now, these are all different, but they work together in order for alignment. In order for you to adjust and align, the spirit, mind, body, and actions all have to coincide with each other. Now, you're probably thinking, well, how do I know, the difference from my spirit, from my actions, my body, my mind? I'm glad you asked. That's why you're here. Now, when we talk about the spirit, there are 2 aspects, okay? It's what do you believe, all right? And who do you submit to? What is your belief, and who is the authority over you? Who's the authority over you? Who tells you what to do? Who motivates you? Who drives you? Who blesses you? Is it you? Is it your parents? Is it your spouse? Is it your child? Is it who? Now, over here with the mind, we have thoughts and we have patterns. Now, these thoughts are the ones that you entertain. Patterns you repeat. So already you should see the alignment. What do you believe in? So when we talk about what is your belief, it's going to correspond with thoughts that you entertain, right? What you believe in is going to play out in your mind. It's going to lead you. If you believe in peace, your thoughts are going to be about peace. If you believe in vengeance or justice, your thoughts are going to be about how can I balance the scales. That brings me to the next part of who is the authority over your life, because if you're running yourself, it's going to show up in the patterns that you repeat, because remember, consistency is fruit of the spirit. Now, when we start talking about the body, we're talking about energy levels. I'm tired, I'm sad, I'm hungry, I'm mad. And then the stress responses. So your body gives you 2 signals, the energy level and then the stress response that goes along with that energy level, right? If you have high energy, then your stress response is going to be really good, right? You're going to probably be very calm. But also, if you have overactive energy, that stress response might be over talking or, things of that nature. Now, with actions, we have habits, reactions, decisions. Now, remember, in week 1, we spoke about how your thoughts turn into words, your words turn into actions. And this is just a bit more about that, right? We're talking about order being alignment, how the spirit, the mind, the body, and your actions all have to work together, right? Just like that wheel that we're talking about on those cars. Everything has to work together in order for you to be in alignment. If any one of these is off, if any 2 of these is off, if any 3 of these is off, then you're probably real close to all 4 being off. And you'll be in an area that you really, really, really don't want to be in. because misalignment happens when all four of these stop agreeing. You can believe one thing spiritually, think another thing mentally, feel exhausted physically, and then act out because of it. And that doesn't make you wrong, it makes you human, okay? So let's talk about misalignment. All right, so we're gonna do it again. Now, alignment versus misalignment. So I know by now you guys are like, okay, we did a week full of awareness. I noticed some things. You didn't let me do nothing last week. You told me to just observe, right? So what do you want me to do this week with this alignment and this adjustment or whatever? I want you to notice if you have it. Take that awareness and decipher whether or not you are aligned or misaligned. This is the week of course correction, if we can identify certain things, right? And last week we worked in our workbook, we identified some chakras that might have been out of balance, okay? So everything should be flowing along very gently for you. I want to let you know that when things are in alignment, there will be this peaceful clarity, okay? Peaceful clarity, not somebody yelled at you, they shoved it down your throat, or you're scared. It's not a fear-based clarity, it's a peaceful clarity, okay? Now, over here with misalignment, whereas you'd have peaceful clarity over here, you would possibly experience mental noise. Lots of voices, you, someone else, God. Confusion, though, would often come with misalignment. So these different sides of the board should help you identify what's going on. And I want you to know that mental noise does not mean evil. I don't mean possessed. Noise doesn't mean evil. It just means something's out of place. Now, another aspect of alignment versus misalignment is consistent actions. And you know, over here, we're not going to experience any consistency. Now, what I'm about to write next, it hurt my feelings when I really realized it. But when you're in misalignment, you are going to experience start-stop energy. What do I mean by start-stop energy? Well, since there's so much mental noise in your head, you're going to have a lot of different ideas. And you're going to spend one day on one idea, and then it's not going to work, and you're going to switch to another idea. And that idea could even be a person or a relationship, right? You could just start things and stop them because you don't have the follow-through of having consistent actions. I know, it hurt my feelings too. Like, you keep restarting because alignment hasn't been restored. All right, now one of the last aspects that I want to speak to you guys about, alignment comes with this really quiet confidence. It's like you're always going to hear someone say, there's something about you. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something about you. I'm drawn to you. Have a light, or they like your energy because you have this quiet confidence. If someone says that they can't quite put their finger on what it is about you that they do like, it's their confidence. Now over here, baby, when you in misalignment, this side really hurt my feelings. It really did. Over explaining, comparing, and proving. When I tell y'all this hurt my feelings, I mean it hurt my feelings because I saw so much of this side within myself recently, right? And if you've noticed, I've made some changes recently because I saw I was in misalignment, or I saw that I was out of alignment. I was having mental noise. I had some start-stop energy, as well as I have frequently over-explained, compared myself to others, as well as put myself in a position where I felt like I just had to prove things. So if I can be as transparent as I am, because I am working on awareness and alignment and adjustment myself, then I think that should motivate you guys to really, really dig deep this week. Dig deep this week on who are you? What do you believe in? Who do you submit to? Where do you see this in your life showing up lately? I'm gonna give y'all a minute with this, and then we're gonna go ahead and talk about adjustment. I can't help but give you glory when I think about my story, and I know you favor me because my enemies did try, but couldn't triumph they did try. One thing I want to tell you about adjustment is that it does not equal failure. Adjustment does not equal failure. This is important because a lot of people think that if they adjust, if they pivot, if they change, if they grow, they think that it's a sign of failure. So they stay on that same path. Whew, baby, this is why so many people are in relationships for absolutely way too long, because they don't want to say they failed. But adjustment is not failing. Pivoting is not failing. Improving is not failing. Having awareness and then taking these steps to make things be in order for alignment, that's not failing, baby. So don't you let the enemy convince you that it is. Now, I will tell you what adjustment is. Adjustment is correction, maturity, and responsibility. That's it. That's what adjustment is. Correction, maturity, and responsibility. So you'll notice that some people who are just childish, they don't want to hear that. They're going to tell you that they're grown though, and that's the ironic part, right? They're going to shout their maturity from the rooftops because they don't want to take responsibility for the things that they don't correct. Adjustment feels uncomfortable because it challenges your identity, right? The what do you believe in, the who do you submit to. It challenges that. And if it's a challenge, it doesn't mean run. A lot of the times a challenge is there for you to state and stand your ground. State what your claim is, tell them what it is, and then you defend it. So one thing that I have noticed is that we attach our ego to our old habits. Oh, I've always been like that. I've been doing that since I was da-da-da-da-da. I don't find no problem with it. Everybody do it differently. There's also order, right? There's also a set of steps that gets people to the finish line in a way that doesn't hurt others, right? So having a way does not mean that it's the way, okay? Attaching your ego to your old habits is not a good thing. One thing that I have also noticed, because this is what we do, this is what God does. God adjusts systems, not your worth. So remember, adjustment does not mean that you have failed, okay? Because God is here when the adjustment is happening. The awareness, the alignment, adjustment, it all comes in steps. It all comes in waves. This is why we're going week by week. God adjusts systems. He does not come through to adjust your worth because you are already inherently important to God. Literally inherently important to God. You're not here to prove your importance. Raynella, you're not here to prove your importance. Now we talk about my favorite thing to talk about. We're talking about God. So let's go to the Bible. Hebrews 12 and 11 says, now Hebrews 12 and 11 says, now no chastening for the present seemeth joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yielded the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. Now, I get it. That's the language that some people avoid. They're like, give me the English Standard Version, New Translation. No, we're going to go KJV. I'm going to say it again now. No chastening for the present seemeth joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yielded the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. So let's break it down. Let me tell you what stands out, and I'll go ahead and explain the words that might be the most looming to you, right? So chastening, right? Chastening, you think of a chastening belt, right? Or a chastity belt. This is something that holds you. This is something that keeps you, right? So these are boundaries. These are boundaries. These are corrections. Now listen, no corrections, no boundaries, right? For the present time seem joyous. Yeah, you're like, why are you restricting me? What do you mean I can't do that? What do you mean pause? What do you mean think more, right? It's so much like, what? You want me to stop? If I stop, then I'm not going to continue. If I stop, then it must be a failure, right? No, remember, adjustment, okay? Adjustment is not failure. So now, no chastening for the present seemeth joyous, but grievous, right? People grieve it. And what are they grieving? They're grieving their old habits. They're grieving what they used to know. They're grieving the parts of themselves that they know they cannot carry forth if they want what? The peaceful fruit of righteousness. Listen, nevertheless, right? It seems joyous but grievous. Nevertheless, oh well, God is letting you know, I know you ain't gonna like this. Nevertheless, okay, afterward, we have to wait. We have to wait. We have to let these things happen, because afterward it yielded that harvest. You remember when we talked about fruit last week? That harvest basket, there's the yield. The yield of the peaceable fruit. There it is. It's right there. But when does it come? After the chastening. That's when it comes. You guys are trying, or even I've done it. People are attempting to get to the fruit of the righteousness without the chastening, without the grief. It's not going to happen. According to Hebrews 12 and 11 KJV. Now, what can happen is that we get to this fruit of righteousness, right? By exercising. And I don't mean going to do jumping jacks. And I don't mean a treadmill, okay? And I don't mean how much can you bench press. Exercising, the correction, the maturity, the responsibility, the alignment, the adjustment. Exercising thereby, okay? So again, now no chastening for the present seemeth joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward, it yielded the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. Okay, and also, key word, righteousness. Righteousness, not doing whatever we want. In layman's terms, discipline hurts in the moment because it disrupts comfort, right? It disrupts the comfort. But the outcome is peace. So a lot of people in my life have said, you're always starting stuff. Why you brought that up? Or why you said that? And why you brought that in here? Because I had to interrupt that comfort in order for everyone to have peace, because singular peace is not the goal. Universal peace is, right? So if there is a group of people who are happy, but then there's this other group who is not, and it's contingent because of that group, I'm going to go to that group and let them know. Yes, I am. You're welcome. One more thing I want to talk to you about is this chastening. One thing that I have found within the peace of God is that if it keeps getting corrected, it means it matters. If God is correcting you, you matter. Because correction is love. And when I say correction is love, think about your children. Don't you discipline your child because you don't want them to have to learn negative things from the world? Don't you discipline your child in order to correct their behavior? Your father is disciplining you too. So if you can discipline your children, why can't you continue to receive discipline? Is it because you're too mature? Are you so much of an adult that your father can't say anything to you? Is there an age that you think you don't need correction anymore after that? These are all things to think about. So I have 3 questions that I want you guys to consider, and this is outside of the workbook. Where am I forcing instead of flowing? Next, what am I repeating that no longer fits? Where are you trying to place that square peg into that circle? It's not fitting, friend. What needs adjusting, not expanding? What do you need to adjust instead of continuing? What am I forcing instead of flowing? What am I repeating that no longer fits? And what needs adjusting, not expanding? Because some people think growth means adding, but God often shows growth by removing, right? He's going to prune. We speak about isolation, right? We speak about separation before elevation. So we have different ways of behaving than God does. God usually elevates us by removing things, and for some reason we believe that elevation means more. That's sad. Now, if you want, you can answer these questions in the chat, and if not, you don't have to. You don't have to share these answers, but I'd like to know. All right, let's speak about why you're here, which is energy school. I will let you know how this all ties back into energy. This might come as a shock, but energy follows order. Energy follows order. It does. So when we were speaking about alignment versus misalignment, you'll see that on the alignment side, there was always order over there. Because wherever there is order, clarity usually follows. Usually, like, there's no mistake. And if you go to someone's house and they let you know when you enter their home what they expect, then everyone is able to follow that order, right? But if you just come into someone's house and you don't see if there's any rules or, any preferences, then you might run the risk of actually offending those people, disrupting their energy, and never being allowed back. That doesn't just go for homes, but that goes for situations, relationships. So listen, when order returns, clarity follows. And when clarity returns, peace follows. A lot of people are confused right now because they're trying to figure things out that they don't actually have the authority to figure out. So what I mean by that is you are submitting to yourself because you believe in yourself. You believe that you can do it. You believe that if you think hard enough, if you manifest right hard enough, that it will show up. And then when it doesn't show up, you think that you did something wrong, failure, right? And you try even harder and you try even harder. But this is the week of correction. Okay, guys, this is the week of slowing down and actually making some changes. Energy doesn't respond to effort. It responds to alignment. Every time. Energy does not respond to effort. If that was the case, everybody who tried to get 1,000 followers would get them. Everyone who tried to even apply to college, they would actually get it. It's not about effort. It's not about the completion of the application, right? Because you can always get approved or denied. So the effort itself is not what's going to get you the energy that you need. The alignment is going to get you the energy that you need for completion. This is why awareness mattered, because you can't adjust what you don't see, what you're not aware of. You can't correct it. This week's assignments, I want you to do 3 things. First, I want you to observe a misalignment, to make one adjustment, and I want you to stay consistent. This is what I want you to work on, okay? Observe any misalignment. Observe it. You learned how to observe last week. I want you to adjust what you can correct. If you need help understanding what's your responsibility versus what God's responsibility is, pray to God to reveal to you what you can adjust with His blessing, as opposed to adjusting something that God's not even looking at. Don't fake adjust. It'll show up, right? Because fruit is what consistently shows up, which means stay consistent this week with whatever your changes is. So consistently adjust. Do not turn back this week, y'all. Don't be Lot's wife. Fix everything. That's going to give you mental noise and negative things, all right? It's going to give you that start-stop energy with misalignment. Pick one thing, adjust one thing, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. I'm so excited that we have gotten through lesson 3 of week 2. I can't wait to talk to you guys next time.